Genesis, in many ways, is a story of siblings not getting along. And while the first siblings that don't get along are famously Cain and Abel, who really don't get along, it is the siblings we look at today that sort of show us really the depths that sibling spats can descend to. We're looking at Jacob and Esau today. And Jacob and Esau, well, there's always the sibling conflict you'd expect to have happen, and especially with Jacob and Esau, they are twins, but they are very different. Jacob is born second. His name, Jacob, means heel or heel grabber, trickster, one who trips up others. And he is the one who stays home and works around the camp, works around with other people, while his brother Esau ranges far afield and hunts. And it is on one of these days when Esau comes home from hunting that the usual brotherly jibing and messing with each other elevates dramatically. Because when Esau comes back one time, he is famished. He's not going to make it unless he gets something to eat. And he says this to Jacob, and Jacob says, I have this stew, this wonderful lentil stew. You can have some of it. But I'm going to need something. I worked hard on this stew. I'm going to need something if you're going to give me something for it. And Esau says, anything. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. I'm not going to survive if I don't have something to eat right now. And so Jacob asks for the thing that Esau has that is the single most valuable thing. There is nothing he could have asked for that would have been worth more than this. You got to get Jacob credit for just swinging for the fences, right? Because what he asks for is your birthright. He asks for your birthright, and the birthright, and Esau says, of course, if I'm not going to survive to enjoy it unless I get something to eat. And so he says, you can have my birthright. Now, birthright is an inheritance thing. Inheritance was handled by taking the estate, as we'd call it today, and you divide it into as many slices as there are boys to inherit, plus one more slice. And that extra slice goes to the oldest. So with two boys, that would end up being 3 slices. And so Esau's just given away 1/3 of the family farm for a bowl of stew. Now, I'm sure that there are there's a little bit of fallout from this. What did you do? I can't believe you did this type of stuff. But it's done. Esau has said it. I give you my birthright. A person's word is their bond. It's done. And so the brothers, they're not exactly getting along. The day comes when their father, Isaac, tells them that his day is coming close and he will die soon. And he tells them, I will give you your blessing. And this is when that inheritance thing is probably getting really pressing now, because it's about to get real. Esau goes out to hunt, he's going to bring back, shoot something, bring it back, prepare for his dad. His dad's always been really enjoyed the wild game that Esau hunts. And so he comes back, and when he shows up, what Esau finds is that Jacob has already snuck in before him, offered his father a dish, that Jacob pretended that he was Esau, and Isaac, their father, has blessed Jacob with the blessing of the elder son. And so Esau is furious. First, his younger brother takes his inheritance. Now his younger brother takes the blessing that says that he will be the leader of the family. And Esau's just furious. He is furious. He is angry. He's going to kill him. He is going to kill him, all right? And the mother hears this and says, well, this could really happen. And so she grabs Jacob and says, it's time for you to leave. Your Uncle Laban lives in a nice part of town. Go see your uncle. He's pretty far away. Find yourself a girl. Settle down for a little bit. Have a kid or two, and then come back. Because if you don't, your brother's going to kill you. So that's what happened. Jacob leaves. He leaves in such a hurry that Scripture tells us in Genesis that when he sleeps that night after he has run for his life, that he's looking for a place to lay his head, and he sleeps with his head on a rock. Like, how fast are you leaving town that you don't bring anything at all that's better to lay your head on than a rock? And while he dreams that night, he has a dream of what we end up calling Jacob's ladder, of a ladder going up to the heavens and angels coming and going and descending and effectuating God's will upon the world. And he understands that God is involved in his life. And this is very cool. But then he goes and he meets his uncle Laban. And he finds out where that slick, slightly too slick for his own good thing comes from. He comes by it honestly. His uncle, Laban, has 2 daughters. And Jacob likes one of them, but it's the younger one. And so he makes a deal with his uncle. I will work 7 years for your daughter's hand in marriage, the younger daughter. And Laban agrees. 7 years for a daughter, that sounds like a good going rate. And so on the night of their marriage, Laban slips the older daughter into the marriage bed. And I'm guessing that there had been a lot of wine flowing, such that when Jacob wakes up the next morning, he wakes up next to the older daughter, not the younger daughter. And he is furious. He's been tricked. How dare someone trick him? I hope the irony did eventually sink in for Jacob. And then Jacob has to go back and, okay, if it's 7 years for a daughter and I've married one daughter, now I want the wife I actually wanted. And so he works 14 years. He actually works for his uncle for another couple years after that. He works for his uncle for 20 years before it's clear that it's time for him to go home. So he's going home. And this is where we find him in Genesis 32. He's going home. And this is the point where the brothers are going to see each other for the first time in a long time. And so Jacob sends his flocks ahead of him. You can't send that as many livestock as he has all in one flock. He's got to send flocks ahead of him. And he sends them with his sons to herd them, and his wives and his servants. And he tells some of them, you are, when you see my brother, you were to tell my brother that this is a gift for you. This is a gift. And is he giving back what he stole from his brother originally? Maybe, right? But he hears his brother is coming out to meet him. And his brother is coming with hundreds of men. And this has to be terrifying. Because the last time they met, Esau, the impulsive, angry one, the one who is so impulsive that he would trade his inheritance for a bowl of stew, the one who has threatened to kill him, and everyone took that so seriously that Jacob ran for his life, that Esau is now coming to meet him, and coming to meet him with reinforcements. And so Jacob waits. He has sent out his family and his livestock, and he's made it so that Esau is going to receive gifts, as he arrives, and but he's going to meet his brother that he hasn't talked to in 20 years. And the brother would have seen the livestock and the family and this appeal, this like unspoken appeal. We've both grown up. Let's not do anything stupid. Let's not do anything crazy. And that's what's going to happen the next day. And we read in Genesis 32 what happens the night before. This is the night before. Jacob has lined all this up, and so he's going to have one more night by himself. And the next morning he's going to meet his brother. And the sun sets, and the fire is fading, and it's going to ash. And he is leaning against a tree. And he has to get through the evening without doing something stupid. Without doing something profoundly stupid. Something that he has done many times before. Like Jacob's the trickster. He could try to pull a fast one, and he has done it before. He could run. Would it make a lot of sense? Well, probably not, living behind family and livestock. But if he is that scared of his brother, running, maybe it does make sense. Right? Maybe he's going to flee. It would be a relapse back to older ways of how he used to handle things. And relapses don't make a lot of sense. They're not the wisest thing to do. But in that moment, while he is sitting there in the growing dark, and the fear and the imagination is swirling around him, that's when a dude tackles him. And it's random. It is absolutely random. Like this moment when we read, and then a dude wrestled with Jacob all night. It is one of the most random moments of all Scripture. What it brings to mind for me is that moment when watching Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail, when they're coming up to the cave and they meet the cave guardian, the one guarding the Holy Grail, and it's a rabbit, and the rabbit flies at them with its sharp point, a little fluffy white bunny rabbit, flies at them with its pointy, sharp teeth, and it just takes them all out, and they have to run away, and it is just utterly random. And that's about as random as this. It's like, where did this dude come from? Was the guy like, did he fly out of the darkness and like tackle him and like sneak up on him? Or did he like walk up and say, oh, hello, what's your name? Oh, your name's Jacob. Do you want to throw down? Like, we don't know how this unfolded other than, wow, it's random. Like, we go from this like focusing on a man who is struggling with his inner demons. Is he going to run? Is he going to relapse? Is he going to be the trickster? Or is he going to stay and work with his brother and try to build the family back up again and to turn over a new leaf? Like this like psychologically interesting, challenging moment, and then the dude's throwing down. We don't know. We just don't know. We do know that, why it happened like this. We do know that Jacob understands that this is somehow of God. He calls the place Peniel. I've seen the face, the pen of God, El, the face of God, Peniel, and lived. Like, so he somehow identifies this with the presence of God. And his grandpa Abraham had 3 strangers come by and declare that they would have a child, and Abraham understood this to be a visit from God, and somehow Jacob makes this connection, even though there is a big difference between 3 people riding through and a dude tackling you in the middle of the night. But yeah, that's what happens. We read that the guy saw that he could not prevail against Jacob. He touched the hollow of his thigh, and Jacob's thigh was put out of joint as he wrestled with him. How much energy does it take to throw someone's hip out of joint? Like, that is a pretty serious thing to do to a person. But his hip is out of joint. At this point, even if he wanted to run and get away from his brother Esau, he can't run. He can barely walk. He can wrestle, though, and he keeps on wrestling. And so he wrestles, and the other guy says, I need you to let me go, for day is breaking. This is just as confusing as where he comes from. Why does this matter? Does daybreak matter because this has been some sort of spiritual experience in the time of spirits and night and darkness and dreams and visions is passing? Is it because this unknown person is protecting himself, or is he protecting Jacob from seeing him, or is it just a practical matter? Esau is about to show up, and this dude needs to get out of the way before Esau shows up so that the brothers can be reconciled, so Jacob can meet Esau. We don't know. All we know is this dude is now crippled Jacob, knocked his thigh out of joint, and is now saying to him, I gots to go. What we do know is that it's at this moment that Jacob makes his demand. I will not let you go unless you bless me. There's only one who can bless. We can ask God to bless something. We can't bless something ourselves. So for Jacob to demand that this person bless him, it is reinforcing that somehow in this struggle, Jacob has understood something about this guy and understood him to be somewhat of God. And the man doesn't say, nope, I can't bless you. What the man says is, what's your name? And he says, Jacob. And the man who has come to wrestle him says, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed. Israel, wrestle, El, God. To wrestle with God, to struggle with God. Your name is now the one who struggles with God, right? And so Jacob, the heel grabber, the trickster, is now the one who struggles with God. And for what he has done, he has struggled and prevailed. And right, who has he struggled with? He has struggled with his brother, his father, his uncle. But in that moment, if you ask, like, who has Jacob been struggling with? I think the person Jacob's been struggling most with is with himself, to not run away, to not relapse, and he has prevailed in this. And in doing this, I believe he has struggled with what God has called him to do as well. Like, he has struggled, will he do what comes most comfortably, or will he struggle and will he choose to do what God calls him to do, to not be the family member who fractures family, but to become the family member who brings family back together. And so, having struggled with himself and struggled with God, Israel becomes the name that is passed down. And it's fascinating that this is the name that's passed down, because there were other options. They could have been the Israelites, they could have been called Abramites. They indeed, Abram, father, exalted father, father of many nations, this is true. The focus could have been upon the fatherhood of this people, that they are the parents of so much, right? They are the parents of the Judeo-Christian worldview that we have inherited. They could have been called Isaacs, or some plural of Isaac, the people who laugh with the joy of God. No, they are called Israelites. They are called the people who struggle with God. It's somehow less respectful from the Abramites, less joyous than calling Isaac like the other options. But I think it is honest, because that's what they're going to be. The family of Abraham is the family that struggles, wrestles, argues, debates with God about who they're going to be and who God calls them to be. We finally read, then Jacob asked him, tell me, I pray, your name. But he said, why is it that you ask my name? And there he, the angel, or the dude, or the something, blessed him. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, saying, for I've seen God face to face, and my life was preserved. The sun rose upon him as he passed this place, limping because of his thigh. And so the man blessed Jacob, Israel, and left. And then Jacob went on to meet his brother, limping, but he didn't run away. And he reconciled with his brother, though admittedly he's still a bit squirrely. He tells his brother he's going to settle in one place. He says, I'm going to settle in, he says he's going to go to Seir, S-E-I-R is the name of the place, but he ends up going to Succoth, a further way, because he squares up with his brother, but he's a little bit worried. He wants a little bit more distance, right? Therefore, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the sinew of the hip, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, because the Lord touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh on the sinew of the hip. So to this day, Jews don't eat. It's effectively the sciatic nerve, the sinew that holds the hip in place because of this experience. They are Israelites, and to this day, they are marked by what happened to them. And they are marked today. They are the people who struggle with God, and just in the same way, like Jesus was a Jew. He struggled with God in the Garden of Gethsemane. Let this cup pass from me, if at all possible. Right? It is Jesus continues what begins here. Jacob wrestles with God, and all of the ones who follow in his footsteps through the ages, even unto today, especially through Jesus, are the people who struggle with God. And we read that Jacob, he didn't prevail. It says he prevailed, right? But it doesn't say he prevailed because he won. He prevailed because he didn't let go. He didn't walk away. He held on. And so if the most important thing about Abraham and Sarah was that they waited without falling into despair, then the most important thing about Jacob is that he never stopped struggling and wrestling, such that he left a path and a pattern for those who followed him over the centuries. To walk in the footsteps of Israel is to embrace a struggle that matters too much to ever let go of. The struggle in which we can join with Jacob to know who God is, and even in the process of struggling with who God is, to demand a blessing.